Queen Elizabeth loved her food and drink. She had a sweet tooth and enjoyed a daily cocktail. We are going to show you how to make some of her favorite foods and drinks. We have two special guests for this recipe. Marmalade on toast was one of the Queen's favorite breakfast foods. She shared her love of marmalade with Paddington Bear.
Perhaps you would like a marmalade sandwich. I always keep one for emergencies.
So do I, but I keep mine in here. And mine's a marmalade taco.
Oh.
For later. But how do you make marmalade?
Peel off the orange rind, leaving the bitter white part on the orange. You can use any kind of orange, but Seville oranges are best because they have the most pectin. We couldn't find any Seville, so we used another kind. Arrange the rind in a pile, as it's easier to chop that way. Use the sharpest knife you have to julienne as thinly as possible. This makes for a nice texture. Slice the peeled orange in half and juice it, trying not to break the peel. Strain the juice to remove any seeds. Reserve the pulp, taking out the seeds. Put aside the juice. Scoop out the remaining pulp with a spoon. Chop up the pulp and set aside. Repeat the process with a lemon. This time don't bother trying to scoop out the pulp, it's too hard. The juice will be enough. Lemon is very important in jams because it gives a subtle tanginess to the flavor and cuts the sweetness. If you like this recipe, please take the time to give us a thumbs up. In a medium pot, add the sugar, pulp, orange and lemon julienne, orange juice, and lemon juice. Set the stove to high and bring the mixture to a boil. Stir occasionally to help the sugar dissolve and to mix the ingredients. When it starts to boil, cover and remove from the heat and let sit overnight at room temperature. This allows the pectin to be released from the peel and pulp. The next day, remove the lid and bring to a boil again. Then reduce the temperature to medium-low and simmer, stirring every 4 minutes. Don't cover the pot as you want the liquid to evaporate. The marmalade will begin to thicken and change color. After about a half an hour, you can check if the marmalade is set. One way of testing is to take a spoonful and place it on a cold plate. Place it in the fridge for 5 minutes. Take it out, and if it wrinkles when you push it, like this, it's set and ready to be removed from the heat. If you have a cooking thermometer, you can measure the temperature instead. The marmalade is set at 105 degrees Celsius. Remove the pot from the stove. While the marmalade is still hot, transfer it to a sterilized jar. When it cools down, you can store it in the fridge, or you can also store it in the cupboard. It will be easier to spread if you store it in the cupboard. This This marmalade is up to the standard of the Queen herself.
Yummy.
Raise a glass to the amazing life Queen Elizabeth lived with her favorite cocktail. The Queen drank this cocktail most days before lunch. It's a mix of Dubonnet and gin. The Queen liked her cocktail with 2 parts Dubonnet and 1 part gin. Her favorite gin was Gordon's London Dry. The Queen also had her own brand of gin, fittingly called Buckingham Palace. Slice a lemon like this and take half a lemon wheel. The tangy lemon complements the bitter gin and the sweet Dubonnet. Remove the seeds. Measure out the gin. Remember, the drink will be 1/3 gin and 2/3 Dubonnet. Pour into a wineglass or goblet. Both Gordon's and Pernod Ricard were awarded royal warrants by the Queen. Measure out the Dubonnet. Dubonnet is a French apéritif. It's made by Pernod Ricard. It's a blend of fortified wine infused with herbs, spices, peels, blackcurrant, and quinine. This cocktail is the perfect blend of sweet, acidic, and bitter. It was all the rage in Britain during the 20s, and the Queen Mum was a big fan of it. The Queen picked up her mum's love of this cocktail. Once you've added all the alcohol, put in the lemon slice. Be sure to put it in before the ice cubes. The Queen liked to have 2 square ice cubes. They needed to be large and perfectly square to keep the lemon submerged, and because they took longer to melt. Enjoy! It's sad to say goodbye, but we can celebrate the Queen's life and remember her with a toast. Now for the Lemon Posset. Sometimes the simplest things are the best. There are good reasons Lemon Posset has been around for so long. There aren't many treats that are this tasty and so easy to make. Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip enjoyed this dessert on their wedding day and many times afterwards at the palace. You only need 3 ingredients for Lemon Posset: lemon, cream, and sugar. Start by zesting the lemon with a microplane or fine grater. You'll need 1 tablespoon of zest. It's worth investing in a microplane if you don't have one, as they're very handy. Whether you need the zest of 1 or 2 lemons depends on how finely the zest is zested. Slice a lemon in half and juice it. Whether you need the juice of 1 or 2 lemons will depend on the size of your lemons and how juicy they are. You need 6 tablespoons of lemon juice. A posset was originally a British hot drink made of milk, curdled with alcohol, and used as a remedy. Pour the cream into a pot. Then add the sugar and lemon zest and mix until the sugar has dissolved. In the 16th century, the drink evolved into a cream, sugar, and citrus-based dessert. Place the pot on medium heat and bring to a rolling boil. You need to be attentive to make sure the cream doesn't overflow, because it heats up very quickly. This dessert is so tasty because the tanginess of the lemon complements the sweetness of the cream and sugar. Stir occasionally. After 8 minutes, remove the pot from the heat. Measure exactly 2 cups of liquid into a measuring cup. If you're over 2 cups, you can boil it a little more to reduce it. If you're under, you can add a little extra cream into the measuring cup. Return the liquid to the pot and add the lemon juice and mix well. There are, by the way, many references to possets in Shakespeare plays. Leave to rest for 20 minutes. While resting, a thin skin will have formed over the liquid, so you need to strain it. Straining also removes the lemon zest and gives a smooth texture to the dessert. Don't press into the strainer as you don't want to push the skin back in, but you can lightly jiggle the strainer. Now it's time to pour the posset into containers. It's nice to use the fanciest dishes or cups you have. Fill the cups while the liquid is still warm. Be sure to leave enough room to add some fruit. If you see any air bubbles, gently tap the cups. Place in the fridge to set for at least 3 hours. While the posset is chilling in the fridge, you'll have time to make some amaretti biscuits to go with it. These are the perfect accompaniment, and we have a recipe for you. We show you how to make them in the Jubilee Trifle part of this video. Take the cups from the fridge to temper at room temperature for 10 minutes before serving. Garnish with berries. Blueberries are a popular choice, but including a strawberry makes it prettier, and adding some mint leaves, prettier yet. Your lemon posset is ready to serve. Even if you don't make your own, it's nice to serve this dessert with some kind of cookie. If you have guests, they'll be so impressed with this delicious dessert. But don't wait for company to enjoy this dessert. Make it for yourself. Enjoy! "70 years is a long time to serve as queen, and is definitely an occasion to celebrate. We'd like to congratulate Queen Elizabeth II on 70 years of graceful leadership. We hope the Queen herself will watch and enjoy this video. Maybe we'll even be invited to the grand event. Our video will help people everywhere to make the official Platinum Jubilee pudding, lemon Swiss roll, and amaretti trifle. We recommend breaking up the work of this recipe into 2 days. You can also make half the recipe. Congratulations to Gemma Melvin for creating this fabulous dessert. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Sift the flour into a small bowl. Add the eggs and sugar to a large bowl and beat for about 5 minutes until light and pale. Add the flour and gently fold in. If you're enjoying these recipes, please subscribe to our channel. We'd love to have you in our community. Divide the mixture onto 2 cookie sheets lined with parchment paper with melted butter or oil brushed on top. Bake for 10 to 12 minutes or until the cakes are lightly golden. Loosen the sides and set aside. Sprinkle caster sugar on 2 sheets of parchment paper, then turn the cakes top down onto the paper. Press down gently with your hands, then gently peel the paper off. While still warm, roll both cakes up into a tight spiral, using the paper to help. Set aside. Zest the lemon. Prepare a bain-marie by placing a glass bowl over a pot of boiling water. Don't let the bowl touch the water. Add the egg yolks, granulated sugar, butter, lemon zest, and lemon juice. Whisk continuously as the curd cooks until combined and thickened, about 15 minutes. Pour into a bowl and set aside. Add ice cubes to a small bowl with water. Add in the gelatin sheets to soften, then set aside. You can use powdered gelatin instead. Just follow the instructions on the box. Peel 6 strips from a lemon and 6 strips from an orange. Put these into a pot on medium heat with the sugar and water. Then turn down and simmer on low for 2 to 3 minutes, stirring occasionally. You must leave it long enough for the flavor to infuse, but not so long that the liquid starts evaporating. Remove from the heat and take out the peel. Squeeze the water out of the gelatin and stir the strips into the pot until dissolved. Be sure to do this step while the water is still warm so the gelatin will dissolve. Juice the lemons and oranges. Add to the pot and stir. Strain the jelly through a fine sieve into a jug and set aside. Unroll the cooled Swiss rolls and spread with the lemon curd. Roll up the cakes and slice one of the rolls into 1-inch slices, like this. If you find value in this video, please click on the like button below. Place these pieces upright around the bottom edge of the dish so that the swirl is visible. Slice the other roll into thicker pieces and use these to fill the bottom of the dish, ensuring the top is roughly the same level as the pieces that line the edge. Use offcuts of cake to fill any gaps. Pour the St. Clement's jelly over the Swiss roll layer. Place the dish in the fridge to completely set. You can leave it overnight to divide up the work. Add 3 eggs to a small bowl, followed by the castor sugar, corn flour, and lemon extract. Whisk until incorporated. Pour the cream into a pot on medium heat and stir. Bring to a boil, then immediately remove and slowly pour into the bowl with the other ingredients while whisking. Return the mixture to the pot and continue whisking over low heat until the custard is thick and smooth. Pour into a jug or bowl. Prepare your parchment paper like this so it will stay on the bowl. Cover the bowl with parchment paper and set aside. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. In a large bowl, beat the egg whites until firm. Add the sugar and the ground almonds and fold in. Add the amaretto and fold in until you have a smooth paste. Place parchment paper on a baking tray and lightly brush with butter or oil. Using a teaspoon, place small heaps of the mixture about 3/4 of an inch apart. Bake for 15 to 20 minutes until golden brown. Start by straining 2 of the cans of mandarins. Discard the juice and put the fruit into a pot. Add the sugar and cook on medium, stirring occasionally until broken down. This takes about 5 minutes. Remove from the heat. In a small bowl, stir the arrowroot with 2 tablespoons of cold water to make a paste. Then add this to the warm mandarins, along with the lemon juice. After you add the paste and lemon juice to the mandarins, they cool down and so the mixture doesn't thicken. You need to return the pot to the stove and cook on low, stirring constantly until the mixture thickens. This only takes seconds. Put in a bowl and set aside. In another bowl, strain the remaining 2 cans of mandarins. Add these to the first bowl and stir gently so that the whole mandarins don't break apart. Set aside. If the peel feels wet or sticky, roll it in caster sugar to absorb any moisture, then set aside. Prepare another bain-marie on low heat and add the chocolate. We used high-quality white chocolate that melts more quickly and smoothly than baking chocolate. After about half of the chocolate has melted, remove the bowl from the heat and continue mixing until it is all melted. Don't melt it all on the bain-marie, as the chocolate will get too hot and the texture of the bark will be wrong. Pour the chocolate onto a cookie sheet lined with baking paper and scatter the mixed peel on top. Using high-quality chocolate also helps the bark break cleanly. Leave to set, then break into shards. Pour the custard on top of the cool Swiss roll and jelly while the custard is at room temperature. Spread evenly and shake a little to even it out. Spread the amaretti cookies over the custard in a single layer, reserving a few for the top. Pour the mandarin coulis on top. The coulis should be at room temperature. Spread it evenly and shake the dish again, then refrigerate for at least an hour. This is a necessary step because if you add the whipped cream onto the mandarin coulis without cooling it first, the whipped cream will melt. It's always a good idea to chill your bowl before making whipped cream. You can whip the cream a little in advance to divide up the work. Whip it until it's almost ready, when there are peaks but they aren't firm, then put it in the fridge. Once it's time to use it, take it out and finish whipping it by hand right before serving. You have more control whipping by hand and can ensure you don't over-whip. It will only take a minute. Whip until soft peaks form. Remove the trifle from the fridge. Spoon large globs of the cream on top of the trifle. Break the cookies into pieces and place on top, like this. Decorate with the white chocolate bark for the crowning moment of this baking journey. You've done it! Give yourself a pat on the back and congratulate yourself. Well done! If you have any questions about making this recipe or encounter any issues along the way, write to us in the comments and we'll do our best to help you. The Queen drank Earl Grey tea every day. Her favorite brand was Twinings, and she liked it piping hot with milk. Quintessentially British and definitely delicious. Scones are easy to share at a party and easy to make. They're served with jam and clotted cream. This recipe is almost identical to the one by Martha Collison, but ours has Earl Grey tea, the Queen's favorite. If you don't live in a country where clotted cream is sold, don't worry, we'll show you how to make it later. We'll also show you how to make self-raising flour and caster sugar. Pour the milk into a small pot. To flavor the milk, you can use 1 tea bag or 1 teaspoon of loose leaf tea. Place on medium heat until the mixture begins to steam. Don't let it boil. Turn off the heat and leave to infuse for a half hour. This is important to add flavor to the recipe. Strain out the tea with a fine strainer. If you're using a tea bag, you can just take it out. Add the honey and stir to combine. Set aside. In a large bowl, add the self-raising flour. We'll show you how to make it later on in the video. Add the cold diced butter and rub the butter into the flour with your fingertips until it's well combined. It's fine to leave a few small pieces of butter in the mix. It should look grainy, like breadcrumbs. Sprinkle the caster sugar into the mixture. Mix in the sugar with your fingertips and make a well. Pour in the milk a little at a time, stirring it in with a round-bladed knife. If you don't have a round-bladed knife, just use a spoon or a regular knife. Just don't use your hands. Don't over-knead. Scones only require light kneading. Otherwise they won't rise and you won't get the light, fluffy texture. Pour the dough onto a flat surface and bring together to form a ball. If the dough feels too dry and won't form a ball, add a half teaspoon of plain milk and gently knead to incorporate. Oh no! Our granite countertop just wrinkled. It's just a vinyl mat. We don't have the money for granite countertops. Please buy us a coffee. The link is in the video description. It's really just a small monetary contribution to our channel. Let's try this again. Form another ball and flatten it a little. We used a 6 centimeter cutter. Punch out the scones. Cut out as closely together as you can to fit as many as possible. Re-roll the remaining dough, taking care not to handle it too much, and punch out the remaining scones. Place the scones on a baking tray. You should be able to get 10 in total. Use a pair of scissors to snip the top of the scones, like this. It's easiest if they're small scissors. You can make 4 or 5 of these incisions. Push the dough towards the outside to form the peaks of the crown. Once the incision is made, refrigerate the scones for at least a half hour. If you skip this step, the peaks won't hold their shape in the oven. Preheat the oven. Take the scones out of the fridge. Now make an egg wash by whisking an egg with a teaspoon of water. Brush the egg wash onto the scones. Put the scones in the oven and bake for 12 to 15 minutes or until golden brown. If you like this video, please show us your appreciation by clicking on the thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. It really helps our channel. If you have some pretty plates, now's the time to use them. Let the scones cool a little, but if you can, serve while they're still nice and warm. You can also reheat them in the oven before serving if you like. You can serve the scones with jam and clotted cream alongside, or you can prepare them in advance. If you don't live in a country where clotted cream is readily available, you can make it yourself. Just keep watching. You definitely don't want to skip it. The flavor is slightly nutty with a touch of sweetness. It's delectable. This dessert is simple to make, but full of rich flavor. To make the clotted cream, you only need one ingredient: cream. Measure out 2 cups of cream. In the United Kingdom, you would use double cream, which is about 48% fat. Pour into a large, open, oven-proof dish. In North America, there is no double cream available. We used whipping cream, which is 35% fat. Bake for 12 hours. Remove from the oven. You'll see that a crust has formed at the top. This is perfect. Let cool for at least an hour at room temperature. Cover and refrigerate for at least 8 hours. The clotted cream is the delicious, rich, fatty part on top. The milky liquid underneath can be saved to use in baking. Pour the liquid into a bowl and refrigerate. Scoop the cream into a jar to use right away or to keep for later. Self-raising flour is hard to find in some countries, but you can easily make it. Pour 2 cups of flour into a bowl. Add 3 teaspoons of baking powder and a half teaspoon of fine salt. Mix well. If you don't have caster sugar, known as superfine sugar in some countries, you can easily make it with a blender or food processor. Simply pour in granulated sugar. Use this substitute in a 1-to-1 ratio. This scone recipe calls for 25 grams of caster sugar, so you'll use 25 grams of granulated sugar. Pulse a few times until the consistency is superfine, but not powdery. Sometimes a powdery cloud forms when you blend the sugar. Wait for a minute before removing the top. Caster sugar incorporates into food more quickly than granulated sugar. You can use your homemade caster sugar in place of store-bought caster sugar in any recipe. We hope you found our video helpful.